Alright, and we are back, getting ready to start the third round. And I am playing black. And so we're just going to sit here, wait until white makes their move, and then go ahead and see what response we're going to make. I think I'm going to go with a Sicilian defense here. It's something I like to do as well. So we'll see how my opponent plays against it. If he plays against it very well at all. So he knows apparently the Sicilian opening pretty well, but I know it too. At least from Black's perspective, I'm pretty good at defense on Black in terms of playing the Sicilian. I'm not quite as good as being the opponent that has to play White against the Sicilian, but I did pretty good in the last game, getting 13 move checkmate. So it wasn't the fastest checkmate possible, I'm sure, but it was certainly a very quick game. So just kind of opening up here, getting ready to get that d4 square to be mine, making sure I own the center of the board, and he brings his piece down to d4, and I'm just going to go ahead and take it because that's a center pawn, and I like center pawns to go away. That's my side pawn. That's my C-file pawn. So for me, it's not a big deal to lose that. But he just lost the center pawn, which he's not going to be able to get back very easily. And once he loses the center, especially with the Sicilian defense, it's kind of game over. But we'll see what happens. It's still anybody's game. Okay, so he's going to go ahead and protect his knight with a bishop. I'm going to continue to push pawns forward on this side and see if I can't get some more edge on the queen side here going on, because these knights are a little bit of a nuisance, especially in the center of the board like this. So I want to try and move them away and get rid of them whatever I can, really. Do anything to get rid of them. And once again, this is round 4 of a 5-round tournament. So we'll see how it flows, how it goes, and who knows. So I'm going to go ahead and develop my knight. Also putting another attacker on this pawn right here. Just putting a little bit more pressure on the center. So he's going to fianchetto his bishop, which I was expecting. I'm going to go ahead and take the knight now. He's going to either take back with the bishop or the queen. I'm hoping the bishop, but he could take with the queen too, just as easily, so I don't know. I think he's not sure either. Or she. Well, his name is Ben3911, so I'm going to go with a he. He's probably a he. So he's sticking with the queen, bringing the queen out to the middle of the board. Something that, while not necessarily a bad move, can become quite dangerous, especially for the queen. Because the queen now has to retreat, has to deal with pawns and all this other stuff attacking it. That's why it's always good to have your pawns in front of you and have a pawn in the middle, but since white has lost one of his center pawns, I now have an advantage there. I still have both of my center pawns. I mean, he has to retreat here. He doesn't have an option. It's just a matter of where he retreats to. Okay, so we waited all that time to see him move one pace back, which I kind of expected him already to do anyway. But here we go. We're going to go ahead and add another attacker to this pawn right here. And then we're going to probably take it at some point. But right now we can't because there are 2 attackers. Actually 3 attackers if you count the queen, which you should. So I am adding pressure on the E4 square, but also maintaining my staunch approach on the D4 square. Okay, so he's going to perch his knight at D5, which is not a bad move. But I'm just going to go ahead and take it, get it out of the way. And he'll have to take back with the pawn, which leaves me to light up my queen and my rook. Basically putting some pressure on this weak point here, just to point that out. And he moves it forward, preventing me from capturing, which is fine, because that wasn't necessarily the goal. But I do want to try and get rid of our queens if I can. Let's see if he'll trade off, maybe. Okay, so he does want to trade queens, and I'm going to take back with my rook. Now, my rook is in a very spectacular position right now. You rarely ever get to have your rook in the first 15 moves of the game in the middle of the board. Technically, I don't even know if this counts as the mid-game, even though it probably is. But it's only been 15 moves, and now we're at a rook in the middle of the board. So... and it's protecting the D4 square, which is the square that I really like to keep a hold of. So anyway, white castles, and I'm going to go ahead and move my bishop out and castle in kind after that. Okay, so he's moving out to E1, which is a pretty standard move. I'm going to go ahead and castle, like I promised. And I think I have a really good tactical move here, which would be moving this here. And then he can't take it. And that would allow me to take this pawn here. So... let's see what happens. Okay, so he is moving his rooks in very weird places, I have to admit. I'm a little confounded by that. But, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and move this here, and then after that I'm going to move this here, like so. Depending on what he does, obviously. He could, you know, make me cancel it out. Have to do something else, but that is the plan, is to try and capture this pawn right here on d5, giving me even more control over the center of the board. And white has very little options here. I mean, he can't move the pawn. He can't remove the attacker. He has to keep this defender on that pawn, or else it just drops anyway. And he can't really use a rook to do that, because, well, the rook will be this rook would simply, actually, no, I wouldn't do that. Okay, so now he's attacking my rook, which I kind of anticipated. But I don't think that's going to stop me from being able to do what I intended to do, which is to move this up and take this pawn. So I'm still working on that. He's making it difficult, I'll give him that credit, but that's about all I could say. So if he goes here, like this, then I take, and he takes back, and I take with my rook. So now he's decided to move this one. So that means I can put into action this plan of retrieving this pawn right here. So let's see how that works out. Seems like a solid plan, I think. If I had to put more pressure on a weak spot, it would be this one. This spot right here is a very weak spot. So what I'm gonna do, I have one attacker there already. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move my bishop right here and add another attacker to that. Because he's blocked off, obviously, me being able to do that bishop capture, so I had to come up with something else. Let's see. Okay, so now he's just thrusting pieces at me, hoping that I will, I guess, go for the bait. I'm not gonna go for the bait. I'm gonna keep as many pieces as I can and try to pick off your pawns. That's the idea. I would say that the balance of the game, if I had to take a guess, is about even, which is pretty cool. That's not a bad thing. If he fails to move that bishop, I was gonna say if he fails to move that bishop, then I'm gonna go ahead and take that pawn, but now I can't. So I'm gonna go ahead and move here. Go ahead and put another defender on this because I'm gonna push it forward once he moves that bishop, or I'm gonna push this forward. He's gonna take, then I can push, but we'll see. Not entirely sure what I'm gonna do with that move yet, but I think that's kind of the idea, is to try and push this pawn forward. Now he's attacking the weak point on my pawn structure, so I'll just go ahead and remove that. Now there's not a weak point. No more weak point on this pawn structure. And now this bishop is just really, really useless. Because it can't really do, I mean, it can kind of come over here and swivel around, but again, there's not really a whole lot it can do. So this bishop is pretty much useless, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him try and trade it off for another piece. My white bishop, also pretty useless, so I might look to trade it off for another piece. Hopefully his white bishop, if anything, but we'll see. Okay, so he moved back to the fianchetto position, and I'm going to go ahead and do that attack right here again on that weak point. And he should respond the same way he did before. I mean, that would be the most sensible thing to do, but people are known to make mistakes. So we'll see what he does. I can still go up a pawn here, I think, either way. I'm thinking I can go up a pawn either way. Either the d5 pawn or the c3 pawn are going down. One of them's going down. Alright, so he's put his he put his bishop back in the original position to block that off, but I can just take this pawn now. Now if he takes here, then I take there, and that's protecting this knight or bishop from that rook right there. So there we go. I'm a pawn up now, which is, I mean, it's not like a miracle or anything, but hey, I'm a pawn up. It's better than being a pawn down. In terms of material, we're still pretty much equal. As far as positioning goes, I think that I'm faring a little bit better, mainly because of the fact that I have so much control over the center of the board, this whole side of the board right here, and then these rooks just bearing down on the C and E files. But anyway, he went ahead and took it, so I'm going to go ahead and take back. And now it's protected. And he may do something like push this pawn forward or something like that. I don't know. No, he wants to just move into a very useless position. At least to me, that looks pretty useless. I don't see what that move accomplishes, honestly. I don't, because I think maybe he's trying to think I'm going to push this pawn forward, which is somewhat true, but it doesn't. That's not really the plan right now, because if I did that, then he could just come down and take my bishop, and then I would have to move over, then he could take my pawn. So, not a great position to do that. Well, now I have the option of en passant capturing, but I don't know if that's the best move. I think the best move here is to just retreat the rook. Because if I en passant like this, then he takes the rook, and the rook is undefended. So I'm going to go ahead and retreat the rook back, connect the rooks again. Okay, so now he's attacking my undefended bishop, which is a logical move. But I can simply move my king right to here, and it's protected again. So he can't come down and just crash my party. This is still a weak point, as is this, by the way. This is also a weak point. A little harder to get to, but still a weak point nonetheless. So we're gonna see what we can exploit. I think one thing we can definitely exploit would be coming down here to threaten the rook here. He's decided to move his king out. I think we're getting pretty close to the end game here. We're not quite there yet, but we're getting there. Okay, so he's moved back to that position again. And I'm going to double up my rooks, which really puts a lot of pressure right here now, and he can't really do anything about that. He's probably going to lose that pawn, and he may also end up losing this pawn. So what's going to happen is I'm going to come crashing in. He's going to have to take or not. He can choose not to, I suppose. But most likely he's going to take. Now he is defending it with this rook, so that's a good move. That's a fair move. I think it's actually not bad. But I'm going to move my bishop right here and prepare to maybe capture one of these pawns. I really would like to. He's stuck defending those pawns right now. I mean, there's nothing he can do about that. He has to defend those pawns. Now, what's happening here is that he's trying to move in here, get in here, and protect the pawn that way. I can just simply stifle that by doing this, and now my plan to get that pawn is kind of rendered useless, but at the same time, his plan to come forth with a king and try to protect things and move closer to the center of the board has also been thwarted. So we'll see how that goes in the next move. We're at move 34, by the way. Okay, so that's just a kind of a positioning move, trying to get some eyeing down here. Still nothing really that bishop can actually do. But I'm going to go ahead and just push my pawns forward and attack the king side now, since it's pretty much undefended over there. Okay, so he moves his pawn forward, which means that he's kind of blocking off anything that I could do. I can't move this here, but he also can't come down and do that. So we're kind of at a pawn impasse. I'm going to go ahead and go back to here and re-attack this pawn, see what I can make of it. He may come in with the king right here. At least that's what I'm expecting to happen. Not entirely sure, but we'll see. Okay, so he's moved the bishop again. The bishop, once again, pretty useless right now in this game. And I'm rendering it even more useless because he can't really go anywhere. He can't do anything with it. So I don't know what his plans are or what his objective is, but it's not looking too great. My bishop isn't great either, but it's on the opposite side of the board. It's on the king side, on the white side rather, and his pawn is still stuck on his side and can't really do anything from my side. So there's kind of an advantage that I have right now. Okay, so now he wants to trade off that bishop. Now, I'm not sure if that's a great move for him, because once I capture, he either has to take back with the king or the rook. If he takes back with the king, I can... what can I do with that? Well, if he does that, I can easily move this piece here. Then that opens up this file right here. I'm going to go ahead and take the bishop and see which one he moves it with. Because if he takes it with the rook, then I can easily get this piece and snag it up. If he takes it with the king, which is kind of what I'm expecting, and he did, I'm going to go ahead and probably push that pawn. So, let's see. See how he reacts to that. Because now he has to retreat this rook or it's going to go away. He can take it, but then I get a rook for free. See the problem? Okay, so he has retreated the rook. But that means now I can come in and just take that bishop right there. I mean, pawn. They're tall and they look like bishops. Fuck you. So anyway, yeah, that's the general idea behind it. Okay, so now he's moved his rook in front of the other rook, which is a smart move. It makes sense. But I'm going to come in and I'm going to push these pawns and really try to wreak havoc on this guy. So I'm going to do everything I can in my power to make this as unpleasant for him as I can. My mentor always told me something. He said, just keep attacking. If you can, find a weak spot, exploit it as best you can. Even if it's just a pawn. take advantage of every weak point you can find, and keep attacking. Don't let your opponent get a chance to attack you. You attack them. Black or white, doesn't matter. Just keep attacking. And with that, you may not always win. It's a very aggressive style of play, which is what he basically has taught me. But in general, it really works out pretty well. As you can see here now, he's got 2 pawns here to deal with. He's moved over to this one, but the other one can just move straight forward with no problem. Now he can move over here to this one, and then yeah, see, that's the end of the game. So that's 4 for O for me. 4 out of 5 standing. And we also have Kishro Pentella, who's also 4 out of 5. So, and now that is who I'm going against. So I am going to be playing white, and I'm going to do the King's Pawn opening as usual. I love my King's Pawn opening, and sorry about that. And the King's Pawn opening for me is like one of the easiest ones to follow, but also one of the hardest ones to defend against. So what you have to do is be really clever with it. I'm going to go ahead and move my knight out. I like to move my knight out first. It's just a force of habit, I think. Okay, so he's pushing the queen out, and I'm telling you, he's pushing it out early, really early. I did not expect a queen to come out that fast. So I gotta do something about that. Let's see. And what games are going on? Is it just me and him? No, okay, there's a few others. I'm gonna bring out my other knight. The queen's not really a threat right now, but the fact that he moved it out so quickly is just really weird. So now he's threatening this silly little checkmate. Like I'm gonna fall for that. But it's not an overall terrible move, but I can just simply block it like this. And now he has to retreat the pawn. And he retreats the pawn to pinning on my king, which is fair, but I'm going to go ahead and just do this and prepare to castle. So see what he does here. Alright, he's pulling out his knight, not really doing anything there. He is attacking this square here, and this is the only defender. This is in the way. So what I can do is I can push this here, and that will prevent the queen from being able to eye that option, and also force the queen to move. So now he's moved the queen twice in the opening, 6 moves. So that gives me a little bit more tempo. Especially as white, now I have a lot of tempo. Now I'm going to force him to move his bishop as well, or take with the bishop, which he may do. Some people are weird to take, some people don't. I don't know. I don't know what the preference is. For me, I like to just not take it and move the bishop back, usually to safety. But some people like to just go ahead and expend their bishops as soon as they're there. So, anyway, here we go. Have the chance for an en passant, but it's pretty useless. Don't really like the idea, so I'm gonna just put this pin here. It's not really pinning because this is just a pawn, but you know, it's still, I mean, trying to get his knight off the board and prevent it from doing any damage across my fancy lining right here. And he's gonna go ahead and threaten me. I'm gonna go ahead and move back. Like I said, that's one of my favorite things to do, is to attack it like that, force the pawn move, and then move back out of the way. So now we got 2 corner pawns that are both pushed, which now I can bring out my rook because of this open file right here. Neither of us is castled yet, but I'm sure we're getting to that. I'm sorry if this is boring for you guys, but I mean, this is kind of just how chess is. So, he's attacking my pawn, which, not really a big threat, so I'm going to go ahead and castle. Okay, now he's really pushing pawns on the queen side, which means I kind of want to respond in kind and do the same thing, because I don't want those pawns to pass the 4th rank and try to get on my side. That's not fun for me, and it's no fun for the future. So I'm attacking his pawns back. He took one of my center pawns. I'm actually going to take this pawn first because it attacks the knight. Now he may take my center pawn here with his knight, but I don't know. We'll see. He has that option. I'll say that. He has that option because, yeah, because he'll now be a pawn ahead, sort of. But if I take this pawn, now we're even. So instead of taking the knight, I took the pawn. And now the knight's hanging, so he has to do something about that. He has to move it. Where's he going to move it to? He only has, let's see, 1, 2. Yep, so he didn't really have a whole lot of options there. He went ahead and took my bishop, which is fine. I mean, I expected that, but I didn't leave him with any options but to do that. And hopefully these games will get more and more complex as time goes along, as my rating gets higher, and I play in higher and higher tournaments, but we'll see how it goes. So, he just moved his queen into the path of my knight. Was that a blunder? I think it was. And he may just resign right here. No, he did not. I'm going to go ahead and move in for the kill. Telling me it was a keyboard mistake. I'm like, okay. Oh well, not my problem. That's what happens when you play online chess. If you screw up, you're screwed. Alright, so he's going to keep playing. To what end, I'm not sure. But we'll see what I can go ahead and accomplish here, which looks like I can accomplish a checkmate pretty quickly, due to the fact that he's down a major piece and his defense is not very strong at all. Just kind of throwing myself at his pieces here, seeing how many I can acquire as quickly as possible. And also checkmate. So he may just resign. I'm hoping he resigns because this is already boring. Okay, so he's decided to move his knight in front of there, but that doesn't really stop me because now I just do this and I'm one move away from doing this and then checking him again. So So trading a rook for a knight, I have no problem with doing that now, because of the fact that, and that's a good move, by the way, because of the fact, and he resigned in this position, but basically I was going to go ahead and take his, in that position. I'll show you if I can find the analysis here. Is there a way to analyze the game? I know there is. Let me go to my home page and look at the standard ratings. No, games. Here we go. So here it is. Here's the game. So right towards the end, let's give me the option. No, I can't do it unless I'm premium. Ah, come on. I don't have money for that. I'm sorry. I just don't. I really don't. I don't have the patience or the time to do it. Anyhow, it looks like I'm still in the tournament. Standings are as follows. Me 5 out of 5. We have someone here 4 out of 5. In second place, we have 3 out of 5. In third place, 3 out of 5. In fourth place, I think that's it. So, what happens now? I think we have to wait till these other games are done. So once that's done, we'll see if I get a trophy. I like trophies. And we'll go ahead and finish off this video.